Eyo YouTube, how are you doing? My name is Stijn and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we're revisiting a company that we've talked about in the past, Alpine 4 Technologies or ALPP stock. In my last video we talked about the great opportunities this company has, and I think I did an okay job in this video. But I didn't explain one crucial part well enough. This company is not just a great way to leverage the drone development in the US, which we did an in-depth analysis on in the first video. So check that one out if you want to know more about Impossible Aerospace. But after reading and watching up more on this company, especially the 2020 annual shareholders meeting, I just get so excited by the opportunities this company is creating. And I really want to do this company justice by doing a better job of explaining why this is so amazing. To hopefully explain my excitement and potentially convince you as to why I believe this is such an amazing company, I first want to give a brief overview of the subsidiaries Alpine 4 currently has. After this, we'll add on to this by explaining the DSF-Business model, which ALPP is currently using, and we'll talk about some of the strengths and opportunities this creates. Thirdly, we'll talk about the CEO, Kent Wilson, and why I believe he has the potential to make the stock an absolute banger in the future. Fourth, we'll talk more about the uplisting to the NASDAQ. And lastly, we'll talk more about the long-term vision I have for this company, and we'll talk about my own personal buy targets. Let's go! Alpine 4 has a lot of subsidiaries. Too many in fact to explain in one video. But currently Alpine 4 Technologies holds 4 subcategorized sectors of subsidiaries. The first sector is their A4 Construction Services, which currently holds Morris Sheet Metal Corp, Deluxe Sheet Metal, and Excel Fabrication. Next up they have A4 Manufacturing, which currently only holds Quality Circuit Assembly, which is a PCB and chip manufacturer. Thirdly, we have A4 Technologies, where they hold their software companies that are Altia, which is a really promising automotive technology company. Think of connected car tech and autonomous driving. And here they also hold Spectrum EBOS, which is a company that focuses on enterprise software, more specifically a blockchain-powered ledger or an accounting software. Both these software companies have a lot of growth potential and are a great investment opportunity in their own right. And lastly, and maybe most interesting, we have A4 Aerospace, which holds Impossible Aerospace, on which we did an in-depth analysis in my last video on ALPP. And here they also hold Vayu, which is a really promising company that focuses on the VTOL space. Vayu is busy developing drones that are capable of vertical takeoff and landing while solving the hardest and most critical logistical challenges on Earth. I believe Impossible Aerospace and Vayu have a lot of potential in the new drone market that is the US, and the sky is the limit for their potential. To summarize this part, I believe Alpine 4 has a lot of promising hypergrowth subsidiaries, for example in the drone and software space. Any of these subsidiaries are a great investment opportunity in their own right, and now are all bundled together in this great company, especially if these subsidiaries can leverage the power of each other. Well, that leads me to Alpine 4's business model. Alpine 4 is a big believer in the DSF-Business model, which is their plan to absolutely dominate as a holding company. Here's how the DSF model works. Alpine 4 recognizes 3 different companies that they would love to invest in. The first category is the driver. A driver is a company that is in an emerging market or technology that has enormous upside potential for revenue, profits, and significant market opportunity to access. Alpine recognizes that these acquisitions are normally small, brand new companies that need a proper structure to support their growth. Great examples from Alpine 4 holdings are Impossible Aerospace and Vayu, which are both companies that are in a hyper-growth sector, the drone sector, and therefore have enormous upside potential and significant market opportunities. Their software companies, Altia and Spectrum EBOS, are also drivers. Cool, so this part of the subsidiaries Alpine holds is basically the part that is expected to drive the future growth potential. And the S and the F of the business model are there to support said driver. Here's how. Well, the S stands for stabilizer, which Alpine 4 sees as a company that has a sticky customer base, consistent revenue and solid net profits. I see this one as a cash cow, a company Alpine 4 invests in for the reoccurring revenue and profits, but that has a harder time to grow on its own. But in the long run, it doesn't really matter that the stabilizer cannot grow on its own, since it's part of a larger holding company. The money can then be used by a driver of this model to grow exponentially. Therefore, a stabilizer is a really useful cash generating business, but one that can't really reinvest this cash themselves. The stabilizer function really feels similar to how Warren Buffett used See's candies, which he also used as a cash cow. See's candies generated more than 8,000% returns since 1972, not because this company was able to grow a lot, but because Warren Buffett was able to use this money to reinvest efficiently. The third category Alpine 4 recognizes is the facilitator. And the facilitator are their secret sauce, and is what makes Alpine 4 so unique. They recently acquired Impossible Aerospace, right? Well, Impossible Aerospace is a drone manufacturer, but hardly has any manufacturing capability in-house. And this is where facilitators come in. Impossible Aerospace now has access to a chip manufacturer, namely Quality Circuit Assembly, software companies, for example Altia and Spectrumibos, but they also have access to construction services through more sheet metal, deluxe sheet metal and Excel fabrications. Therefore, Alpine 4 can leverage their in-house manufacturing powers, their facilitators, to support their drivers. This is a really large competitive advantage, since any other drone manufacturer would need to hire chip manufacturers, software companies, and construction services. The drivers, financially supported by the cash flow positive stabilizers and materially supported by the facilitators, creates an extremely powerful springboard that Alpine 4 can leverage in the future. I really hope I got my point across well in this video, since I truly believe this is a revolutionary way of looking at a holding company, and is what makes Alpine 4 so unique. I get Berkshire Hathaway vibes from this, which is Warren Buffett's holding company. But Alpine 4's potential in hyper-growth sectors can be even larger, since they have the ability to leverage this DSF model. Therefore, in the long run, growth potential-wise, the sky's the absolute limit for Alpine 4. Likewise, whether this company makes it or not is totally up to the man in charge. And that smoothly leads to Ken Wilson, the CEO. Ken has been with this company since 2014. And before this, he was active as CFO at United Petroleum, where he was active mainly in the financial reporting, end-to-end management and the company's supply chain. He also served as CFO at Crystal Technologies. In his shareholders' letters, shareholders' meetings and interviews, he comes across as genuine and capable. During his 2020 shareholders meeting, he was really talking through the perspective of an investor and talked about adding value to us, the shareholders. This makes me feel really secure about his perspective and priorities, but certainly listen to him yourselves and see how he comes across to you. I really like how he's the creator of the DSF, the driver, stabilizer and facilitator business model, and therefore understands it so well. Here's a clip from the 2020 shareholders meeting.
And look what the value of Impossible and Value have done to the value of our stock. It is that excitable moment in time that allows a company like Alpine 4 to provide a product or service to the market that is vast, it's large, and it has huge upside potential. So that's driver, stabilizer, facilitator. And when you put them together, it's very powerful. And if you like what we've done so far, just wait and see what we're going to do in the future with it.
Ken, trust me, I couldn't be more excited for what you will do with this DSF model in the future. Overall, I'm really content with the management, and I personally believe that if anyone can lead this company to greatness, it's Ken Wilson. But this is just my opinion, and you should totally do your own research. Alpine 4 Technologies is busy with the uplisting to the NASDAQ, meaning their shares in the future will no longer be traded over the counter, rather on the NASDAQ. Doing this uplisting has a couple of advantages to Alpine 4, which are the following. They can get easier access to funds via institutional investors. And with this capital, they can pay off debt or use it to acquire even more subsidiaries. During the uplisting, Alpine is expected to raise $170 million in capital, which is also what Ken Wilson referenced to in the clip I showed you before. This uplisting I expect will happen before the midpoint of this year, and can be a really large catalyst that propels the stock upwards. Or not, we'll see. But I believe in the long run, uplisting to the NASDAQ is a great idea for the value of this company. And now, as promised, I'll try to explain my longer term vision for this stock, and I'll give you my personal buy targets. Because of their many great subsidiaries, their revolutionary DSF business model, and the great CEO, I'm extremely bullish on this company. I believe that we're barely scratching the surface as to what the growth potential is for this company. The sky is the literal limit for Alpine 4, and I'm extremely curious as to what they will achieve in the future. Giving a proper fair value today to such a well-diversified company is extremely hard, but I'll give it my best shot. Projected revenue for Q4 2021 is $28 million, so annualized that will mean a revenue of around $100 million. Buying Alpine today at $900 million market cap therefore gives you a price to sales ratio of 9. Steep, but certainly not outrageous for growth companies. Tons of growth companies hit price to sales ratios of 20, 30 and sometimes even 50. Knowing this, I believe Alpine 4 Technologies is a heavy buy up to the $1 billion market cap area, which would result in around $7 per share. The $1 billion market cap area is because this puts us as a price to sales ratio of around 10, which I am totally fine with, knowing they have such a great growth potential. So a heavy buy up to the $7 per share mark and a light buy up to around $10 per share. As a reference, I currently hold around 5% of my portfolio in ALPP stock. The following weeks will probably be a really intense rollercoaster, so make sure to keep around some cash to step in when the company is on sale. Remember, as Warren Buffett said, the stock market is a wonderfully efficient mechanism for transferring wealth from the impatient to the patient. I'm not a financial advisor, so do your own research. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a like and maybe even subscribe. Comment down below what you want me to talk about next, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.